Welcome back to the Cosmic Mistress podcast. I'm Amanda Frederick, and today we have Ariela Halevi here with me. We just did a podcast on hers too, so we'll put her podcast in the show notes as well, so be sure to go and listen to that one.
Thank
Yeah, I would love for you to share just a little bit about who you are, the gifts you're bringing to the world, and the work that you do. And I know one of those things is shamanism, and I'm really excited to talk about that and everything else that unfolds.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
The work I do is I use a blend of Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, which is pretty universal, and shamanic energy to help women stand in their light and their soul story. And so I believe we all came here to honor and uncover the purpose of our lives, which is mostly to love fully and be here in full presence. And that is honoring, as you say, the North Node, and I say the soul, the story of your soul.
Yeah.
And underneath that is the pathway, like how do we get there?
Yeah.
I use the pathway of the elements, earth, water, air, and fire. Fire being the energy of the divine and like your true purpose.
Yeah.
Earth being the energy of our shadow, of our ancestry, of the blocks and the beliefs that we came here to explore. And when I move, it's not linear. It's all spirally.
Right.
So when I help a woman move through the energy of their ancestry and the energy of water, which is somatically, I'm storing all this in my body. My body doesn't feel like me 100%. How can I be more embodied?
Yeah.
So working with women to feel, to actually feel their bodies similar to you, somatically, emotionally.
Yeah.
Then it gets fun, right? That's like the dirt work. That's going into the bones and the dirt and retrieving our souls, past life, the archives of where we've come from. And once we get into like the air and fire, it's like, oh, I am intuitive. I do have gifts. I am supposed to be here. A lot of us question, are we really supposed to be here?
Yeah.
And so, those shadows, those stories of our wounds and our traumas can really pull us down. And I'm here to help you realize that that's just a story that you came to heal and to grow from and to understand. And then when you really know yourself and you're not afraid of those shadows, then that's why we have so much in common, because I feel like we just talked about this.
Yeah.
Then the sky's the limit. And that's where we get to really embody, and then we get to receive that love, and not that we don't receive it anyway, but we get to feel love. And I think a big word is receiving.
Totally.
Kabbalah in Hebrew means to receive. And how can we receive if we're all clogged up?
Totally.
So we think we're lost. I can't hear spirit. I can't feel God. I can't hear these messages, this guidance, this love that you talk about. And I think we're supposed to walk here with full magic every day, as if we're living on heaven and earth.
Yeah.
But most of us don't, because we're looking at the stuff, we're focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah.
So I'm really here to uncover the truth of why you're here, because
I love that.
you're supposed to stand in your light and to
Totally.
love and to be in the dark, but to understand yourself.
Yeah. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
How did you get into the work? Like, what was your initiation into being of service in this way?
I always felt like as a child that I was like, why was I placed here? I love my family, but I was always the disturber, the disruptor. Why are we doing this? Why do I want to do it this way? I don't like this. I want to do it this way. I don't like the decisions you're making. I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
And I look, really sweet and kind, but I had this part of me that came out that was like, I don't like the way things are. I don't like what I'm being shown. I always talked to animals. I always felt God in nature, but I didn't have the language of, why I feel so at home in nature is because I can breathe and feel the God within. Like, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and that wasn't the language. So I shoved all that down, but then was introduced to Judaism at the age of I think I was 23 or 24. My mom, who was Jewish, she passed away. She had what's called a bat mitzvah, which is what usually people do at age 13.
Mm-hmm.
And she found Judaism later in life. And I sat in the front row of the ceremony that she did and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And something just cracked open inside of me, a remembering. And fast forward, I've lived in Israel. I married a rabbi.
Yeah.
I have 4 beautiful children that like this pathway opened up inside of me. And for me, it's been decades now of remembering and returning to the mystic within. And I think we're all mystics, but nobody likes that word. I'm not, that's not me. I could never be that.
Yeah.
And my path unfolded to remembering, I found out in my ancestry that on my mom's side, I think it was my great, great, great grandfather was one of the first rabbis to come to the United States in Los Angeles. And that was eye-opening. And to hear about some other things in my ancestry in Prague that I was like part of this. I was returning to my mystic roots, and it feels like it's a part of me. So I got into it through Judaism and through Kabbalah and through teaching it over the years and being kind of thrown into it, being scared to use my voice and just thrown into these situations in my 30s and my early 40s where I was leading and guiding in our synagogue, and we were leading many people. And then it was more of a quiet, destructive force of losing my mother, almost losing my father. My son is sitting here doing the podcast, but in 2018, it was, my mother died, my stepfather died, and my father had a major heart attack. And I had to put my son in a therapeutic boarding school, who's sitting here. And that ripped me open.
Yeah.
And it forced me to confront feelings that I didn't think I could hold within myself. And that was definitely a dark night of my soul. And I would say I attribute that year, there's so many other things beforehand. Living in Israel was both amazing and destructive as well. But that year really broke me open to see what I was made of.
Yeah.
And that helped me, I would say, help me lead women in a different place than just yoga teaching and health coaching. And it opened me up to, wow, there's like something more here.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And it's really like what I'm hearing too is the power that unfolds from going into your own darkness and the power of allowing life to pulse through you in a way that on the outside looks like everything's getting destroyed and fucked up.
Yeah.
And also what is it building from there?
Right.
Like, so sounds like that built for you, like a large capacity to be with darkness, to be with pain, a large capacity to lead from a place of like knowing how powerful and capable you are.
Right.
Right. And without those very intense things happening, you don't get to have that.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the things that bring us to our knees are also our teacher, our greatest teachers at times.
Yeah.
And then can you rise from there? And like, I wasn't sure if I could rise from there. I wasn't sure if I could, like, who I could be. If I was a woman, a daughter, and a mom who experienced things on all 3 levels, like who would I turn out to be if I couldn't be the person that I thought I was? I couldn't be the mom I thought I was. I couldn't be the wife, the daughter that I believed I was. I mean, that shaped who I am today.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did shamanism enter your life?
Such an interesting question. I mean, formal training right after that.
Yeah.
So it's been about 8-9 years. informal training, like probably childhood.
Yeah.
When I realized I could speak to animals and nature and felt more like a fairy outside and like kind of out, a fish out of water.
Totally.
Always feeling like there's something more here and I don't know what it is, but I feel more comfortable around animals than I do around people.
Yeah.
But formal training began like probably 8 to 10 years ago.
Nice. Can you explain to what shamanism is for anybody that is listening that may not know?
It's funny when I don't often use that word because it has so much, there's so many emotions behind it and beliefs and stories behind it. The way that I see what I call shamanic energy or shamanic energy medicine is what I embody.
Great.
I believe that everybody's ancestry has shamanic energy. I believe all of our ancestors were shamans and mystics and storytellers. So when I started owning that word was when I tapped into my own ancestry of like, I'm not borrowing from somebody else's ancestry or somebody else's lineage. I'm actually owning what is my lineage.
Yeah.
And that took me a while to figure out because I was in a training that was what my teacher calls as universal shamanism, which is the idea that you really are, you really tap into your own lineage. So you're really not borrowing from hers.
Yeah. And I know too, that's part of the issue too with using that word.
Right.
Is, where the lineage, where it's coming from and
not mine.
Not being connected to it, all of that.
Totally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm a big believer in owning my own. I'm just an authentic person. So owning somebody else's lineage was just not what I was here for.
Totally.
To the point where I did leave, I got the training and then there was a lot of silence after I chose not to go on to like the 4th or 5th year. And I got I've studied with 2 or 3 people. And after that, it was like, okay, Ariela, it's time to be silent. Like the portals and the ancestry that I have found is that it's in my Jewish mysticism. It's in Kabbalah, which is also universal. It is in Hebrew letters. It is in my own body. It goes deep into my ancestry and it's there. And it's so profound that I dove into books and found my own, it's probably a past life of like I can see a man who studies and he's like poring over books. And when I pore over books, I can feel him and it's me. Like I feel myself excited by, I'm like a researcher and I put puzzles together.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with people.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like I want to hear all about how you found yourself and where you find yourself. And let's put those pieces together deep into your own lineage and your own ancestry. It's like a puzzle for me to figure out.
Yeah, I love that. So what is built when you're working with someone? What's created by reconnecting them with their ancestry? Like what do they get to experience?
I think that a lot of our beliefs and our bodies and our DNA is obviously stored in our ancestry. And when we uncover the stories and the messages, I think we have wise and well ancestors that are our teachers. And then we have unwell ancestors, the ones that either aren't fully crossed over, the ones that choose not to do the work, even on the other side.
Yeah.
The ones that are most recent that are still working, right? Sometimes they show themselves as like full guides and sometimes they're just doing their work.
Yeah.
But when we kind of can see and look down our lineage as people that were just surviving and doing the things that we did just differently, there's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of understanding. We all have really dark forces. I've tapped into the possibility that my mom was Jewish. My dad's side of the family is not Jewish. And I've tapped into energy of possibly Holocaust energy of both victim and perpetrator.
Yeah.
And so how do I handle that within my own self?
Right.
And so that,
how does that show up within yourself too? Like that's so interesting.
Yeah. So like knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And then can you look down these tunnels of ancestry And can you heal with them? And can you accept your lineage? And can you gain that knowledge and then live from it? And I think our lives like open up from understanding where we came from.
Totally.
Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
that 100% does. I know for me too, as I'm going down this path of digging deeper into my ancestry, there's, I do feel like I belong. Like a lot of us, that's what we're looking for here, right? Like, why am I here? You know, my safety comes from my belonging. And so like, I belong to me.
Yeah.
And I also belong to the people that are in my life in some way. They belong to me. I belong to them. Like that feels so safe and true for me. And there's still like a missing piece is like, but where else have I belonged that I haven't looked at yet? And who are these other people that came before me that their wisdom, their energy, like what of that belongs to me that I need to become aware of?
Yes.
Because there's all of this here in our 3D, very physical human experience in the here and now. And also there's so much more access to things that we haven't seen yet and we're not aware of. And so I'm excited to report back. I have no idea. So we'll see. We'll see what I come to. But I would imagine that sense of belonging for people too just is like really impacted and is able to expand because it's a quantum. It's like a quantum belonging.
Oh, I love that word, that phrase.
I've never used it.
That's amazing. I have chills when you say that.
I belong in all timelines.
That's right. Like if you really go back and you can feel into your ancestry and see that you are them, there's such a liminal space that we move through, right? And in shamanic terms, we call it soul retrieval.
Yeah.
Is going back into those parts of you, not only in your own life where you've kind of let go underground, right? But in your ancestry, when we can't face some really hard things that have happened. Yes, we all have abuse and alcoholism and destruction and you name it, we've got it. Every single one of us. But when we can shine a light on it, we reclaim those parts of us and we then feel like this quantum belonging. Yeah. Oh my God, that word.
The quantum belonging. And it's like more of a full integration, more like a deeper sense of wholeness. Because we're not disconnected from those parts of ourselves that we were either too scared to look at or just disconnected and unaware that even existed.
Right.
When you're working with clients, do you have them? Because I've worked with all sorts of healers before, and oftentimes like an invocation that they'll do before we do work together is connecting to the highest version of my ancestry, like not wanting to connect to maybe the ancestors that haven't done the work or the ones that aren't necessarily interested in the highest good of my evolution.
Yes.
So is that something that you also do? And I guess what is it like kind of like sifting through like how do you connect to like the differences in that?
That's a great question. I always connect before a session with I call them the wise and well ones, because they are like your cheerleaders. Yeah. Like they're literally your blood. So why not connect with them? Because they want to see this lineage heal and move forward. They're like the light in our darker tunnels. Yeah. So there is an invocation that we seal the room, right? We bring in the spirit. I mean, for me, I go straight to spirit. God is first and foremost. Yeah. In Kabbalah, the right hand side, the energy is God. And so I always kind of directionally bring in the light of God. And from there, it's like a sun that has like kind of beams coming out of it. Yeah. We connect to the left side, which is in safety, which is those wise and well ancestry. Now, it doesn't mean that in a session, we won't help certain loved ones. Like if you come to me and say like, my biggest block is my throat chakra and I have a lineage of thyroid issues or I have a lineage of not speaking truth, then we might tap into an ancestor that isn't wise and well, but that is willing to come here to heal or we have discussions with them I call them deathbed blessings. So maybe they didn't heal on the other side and they're willing to now, we can't do the work for them, right? But they're willing to release or go to a different level in the spirit world, there's layers and levels, or four worlds.
Yeah.
And as we connect, as we heal on the other side, we grow and we get closer to that light. And same as us here.
Yeah.
So if they're willing to come through for the sake of your children, right, and your own healing, amazing. But if they're darker forces, like, we also work with that. But we first and foremost seal the practice in only light, only God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That makes sense. And it's also like, we don't need to not be receptive or block out the ancestry that is not in the highest timeline, that is not like, it's good that you're in communication and invitational around doing the work.
Right.
Instead of just assuming that because they're not there yet, they're not going to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about.
It's a really beautiful parallel to humans as well.
Exactly.
The humans that are still here.
Right. It's, I think when you know who you are, when you start to not be scared, when you look into who you are, dark, light, all parts of you, I think it gives us that protection.
Yeah.
To then look into the spaces in our ancestry that haven't been beautiful and wonderful and kind and loving.
Yeah.
And then to acceptance and surrender and freedom. Freedom is truly accepting where you come from and then knowing that you don't have to be defined by it.
Yeah.
Right? That's like, it's like the sky's the limit. And the connection to spirit gets deeper.
I love that. So what have you seen with clients as far as like intuition or gifts coming online or being unlocked after working with you and kind of moving through some of those foundational pieces of the stories, the past lives, the traumas, and then coming into more of like the juice and the playfulness of what's possible? Like what's been, if there's like something that sticks to mind, but what's been some of like the things that they've been able to come into direct contact with and can now show up in that?
You have a couple of things that resonate with that. So I offer a training and a mentorship for people that are interested in moving through these energies. And then you don't have to go do it for work, but if you choose to, you can. And what I found with working with women in that mentorship is that a lot of women are afraid to own their power and use their voice and even understand that they have gifts.
Yeah.
And so when we go through the process of earth, water, air, and fire, of understanding where we come from, of then tapping into our bodies as a plethora of intuitive gifts, and then connecting to spirit in a deeper way, we unlock these magical spaces within us. And I've seen women go out and use their voices. So maybe it's healing from abuse. Maybe it's actually, getting on that podcast or getting like, that's like a deeper expression of who we are, of like really getting online and expressing who we are. But I've seen some really deep shifts of like marriages healing, and relationships getting closer. And
my guess would be because people are coming into closer contact with truth.
That's right.
Which builds deeper intimacy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Like relationships heal. I would say I'm thinking of a couple clients that have lost children to the other side, and how devastating and horrible that can be. And once we've connected and healed with their ancestry and connected to their loved one, their child on the other side, there's so much understanding of their purpose here on this life. Because a lot of people who have lost others think, especially children, why should I even be here? Because you can feel their life force drifting off.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything more devastating than that.
I mean, it is like the most devastating thing.
Yeah.
And so my job is to help you return to this idea of as above, so below. So if your child is on the other side, they still have a purpose. And your purpose is to connect with them so that they can still live their purpose here on this lifetime. And you're the vehicle through which they live.
Yeah.
And that kind of turns the light back on.
Yeah. Because you now have purpose and you can live with purpose. Instead of just living in the devastation and the despair. Yeah. I love that so much. It's really powerful because, I can't imagine anything more devastating than that. And what you just shared, I feel like is a very solid map to coming back.
Right.
And remembering that you're still supposed to be here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes, I know you work with somatically, is like, how do we have to get you on the floor to sob and sob and sob?
Yeah. We have so much resistance to that.
I mean, I think that's number one.
Yeah.
There's so much in the mentorship and the guidance that I do. There's a lot of openness in receiving messages and learning how to do that on yourself and opening to your gifts. But when it bumps up to actually sobbing on the floor or dancing like crazy, or just moving through how you feel in your body, it is probably the number one resistance I have when working with women. Yeah. Is like the fear of like, oh, I can't do that. That's not who I am. Of like, no, this is actually the pathway.
It's the medicine.
It is the medicine.
Yeah.
It's the quantum conversation.
Yeah.
You want to
I
connect.
Love that one too.
Yeah. Quantum belonging, quantum conversation. It's actually the pathway to feeling all this shit that you're feeling and to opening to your gifts is the movement and the feeling and the emotion of what your body's experiencing.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I'm hearing too. So being with what's alive and not putting a kink in the hose and not closing off to whatever is alive in us. So staying open with that, whatever that may be. Yeah. And I personally, like the times that I've moved through like deep pain and deep grief and have like, and also I have so much Pisces in my chart. So it's unclear sometimes if it's mine or the collectives, but like allowing myself to go through that experience. You know, we think that we're going to stay there. We're scared that it's going to, you know, we'll stay there forever, or no one is going to love us anymore because we're sad, or because we are being perceived as weak, or whatever it is. Those places have been consistently where my heart has opened so much more. And every time my heart opens so much more, I'm able to access more love for myself, for life, for everyone else. And when my heart's open, then I know who I am. Then I know what life has to offer, and I can see the fullness of it. When we're like kinking that and we're like closed off, we can't see anything, like everything that's possible for us. Totally. So I love that you're creating the environment and the container for women to remember what's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said about the kink in the hose. It's literally a block in your body. Yeah. Which we talked about autoimmune disease. It's like not owning your power, not speaking your truth in your voice, and not honoring your anger. And like that's the kink in the hose. Yeah. And it comes out through our body. I'm all about, I think that there's a lot of spiritual bypassing, especially in my line of work. But I think shamanic and Kabbalistic energy is all about coming back. I mean, I believe in life, and the way that I've learned and my Kabbalistic pathway is you grow out, you learn, you gather information from the mystical realm. And if you don't bring it back into your body, you've got one foot out, one foot in. Totally.
And it's very confusing for the universe because it's like,
it is.
Who are you actually and what do you actually want?
Right.
And you can't be clear unless you're bringing it all in and
fully
embodied.
here.
And I think that too, what you're speaking to is why people kind of cycle and go through patterns of like doing the work, not fully integrating, having to do it again. Or even when people like hop from like plant medicine ceremony to plant medicine ceremony. There's not that like integration piece of allowing it to be fully embodied.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes hard work because you're confronted with your patterns.
Totally.
Your beliefs, the way that you've been living your whole life. And we say we want to change, right? But change is not easy.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I mean, I was just confronted with something this weekend where I was like, oh, no thanks.
Oh yeah. I feel like every day lately I'm like, oh, more?
Come
more?
on.
I gotta let go of more.
Right.
It's gonna be a little easier.
Yeah.
But I think too, what we mentioned on the podcast with you is like building a body that can experience the full range of what life is offering you. Like what a gift to have that opportunity while you're here.
Totally.
That maybe, your ancestors did not have that opportunity
Yes.
for. Like we do
Yes.
have it now. Like we have,
Yeah.
we are not at a loss for information. We are not at a
Yeah.
loss for like how to do things.
True.
The missing piece is like that experiential, actually bringing it into the body.
Yes.
So I love that that's what you're pointing to. And then
Mhm.
who do you get to become when you're doing all of that? Like,
Totally. Yeah, it's a little vulnerable, but this weekend I was an osteopathic energy healing, and I'm 53 years old. I've gone through menopause, and I'm really struggling with like feeling so dry, like
Yeah.
dry mouth, like really badly. And she said, "What comes up when you feel that way?" And I said, the first thing that came out of my mouth was death.
ooh.
And she was like, "Wow, what comes up under that?" And it was like Holocaust.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was just like, she just kind of helped me kind of bump into what my body's experiencing right now as a menopausal woman, right? And like how that feels in my body, because it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so how I feel right now in my body, what I believe about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then where does it come from?
Yeah.
And then trusting that message. And then it's like, oh shit, now I have to deal with it.
So what do you do with that?
Well, the way that I do it with other women and the way that I would do it with myself is, how do I integrate that?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's here and physically it's uncomfortable, and now I understand where it comes from. And so my job is to take the quiet space to ask and go in to, what is my body like? Yesterday I went into the basement,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved my body in a way that felt like nourishing and water. Because if I feel dry and death-like, I mean, I don't feel like death. I don't walk around feeling like death, but like that metaphor was like, well, what does life feel like?
Yeah.
And then what is it? So I was dancing on the floor, like crawling on the floor, and that felt like death.
Mm-hmm.
And then I grew and grew like a tree.
Yeah.
And it felt like movement of somebody who feels flourishing, who feels like I have water flowing through me. And it'd be nice, estrogen too would be nice. And I did get the message like, okay, more estrogen.
Yeah.
So I listened. But going into those spaces of like, what does that mean if I bumped up to death in the Holocaust?
Totally.
And it feels like desperation. It feels like hunger. It feels like thirst. It feels like somewhere in my ancestry, either I or they experienced, like I can feel it now, like somebody crawling, somebody needing that primal life.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel sad.
Totally.
Right. And so I'm not clear. Is it me? Is it them? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Because it's
Right.
here.
Yeah.
It's what's alive.
Yeah. It's very alive. I haven't really worked through it fully. That's why it's kind of vulnerable to share it.
Yeah. Thank you.
But it feels like, okay, well, it's happening presently, and I really want to move through it. And I've tried all the supplemental blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
If I don't deal with it on that root cause.
Yeah. I love that.
So
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. What I'm hearing too, you even said, how do I move through it? Like, how do I move through it?
Yeah.
And so you're pointing to taking yourself on a journey of like, okay, what's alive with me?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Where did this come from? And now, like, how do I allow that energy to move through me?
Yes.
Like, how do I allow that energy to take up space within the environment that I'm in? How do I bring it to life? How do I let that energy live so I can also feel alive?
Yes.
I love too playing with like contrast. So it's like, what is the embodiment of desperation? What is the embodiment of dryness?
Yes.
What is like, and allowing your body to like fully be in that. And it's like, okay, and what is the contrast of that?
Yes.
Right? Like what is like overflowing wetness like in my body?
Right.
What, like all of those things, and toggling between both of them, knowing that that's the range, right? Your system can hold both.
Yes.
But I loved what you said around, how do I move through this? Like we forget we don't have to just think through it. Like you can move through it.
Yes.
Let it move through you. Let life move through you.
Right. Like what does it feel like to be like death or hopeless or hungry or thirsty? Like what am I thirsty for right here, right now?
Yeah.
Right? What is starving?
Mm-hmm.
And that is something you move through.
Totally.
It's not just an answer that we can give our clients or our bodies. We have to actually experience it.
Yeah. I love that.
That's
Thank
why,
you so much.
going back to your question is like, what is shamanism? Like, I'm sure you can look it up and like, there's so many different definitions. And to me, shamanic energy is moving through the emotional, physical, spiritual, and energetic body.
Yeah.
And coming to wholeness with all of those is like, that is powerful.
Totally.
Work.
Yeah.
And people are often scared of that word,
Mm-hmm.
and they have this
It's a very like
notion,
dark connotation.
Yeah, like I'm going to go into this darkness, and no thanks, I don't want to see my darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much light in there.
Totally.
And you get to know yourself, and you get to walk around this. Like I mean, obviously I have my own shit, but like I wake up every morning, and that programmed belief is like, oh, like there's this little voice in my head that's always there. And then I say to her every single morning, honey, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I say a prayer every morning. It's a Jewish prayer. Like, thank you for returning my soul to my body. And that gets me, as I put my feet on the ground, that's my prayer. And then I go wash my hands, and I thank my body for returning to life and coming on and releasing my night, releasing wherever I traveled, coming back into full presence.
I love that.
And then I go from there, and I go from there, and I go from there. And my goal is to make every single day a walking prayer.
Yeah.
So that I saw a feather. I was praying this morning, walking the dogs. I was just doing something mundane, right? I walk the dogs every day. But I saw this gorgeous big feather, and I was praying and praying about something. And it's like, okay, thank you, God. Thank you for being here with me. To me, that's shamanic energy. That's Kabbalistic energy, is seeing the beauty and the magic in every day. Yeah. Doing the dishes, driving to work. Those are all mundane things we do that can be amplified and exemplified to like this other world. Yeah, I love that. It's almost so like, there is light. How can life always be a ceremony? Totally. Yeah, totally. I remember having a conversation with somebody I was giving an IV to, and she reflected that she was a light worker, and she's like, I only want to be a light worker. I don't want to work with dark energy. And I was like, that's so interesting, because I feel like I work with a lot of dark energy, but I'm a light worker. You know, it's totally both. Bring all of it to light. Yeah. And I think if you only focus on the light, you're missing out on all of these other pieces. Exactly. Yeah. And something you said in your podcast about, sometimes we need help doing that, because the darker parts feel dark, and darkness, when we say the word dark, we think scary. We think like being alone. And what if it's just like watching a movie? Totally. And like you see that stuff, and it's like, we hold your hand and we go in there when you're ready. And and also, as you know, I only go as far as my client is comfortable. Totally. Yeah. And that's respect. And you don't want to go farther past there. I listen to the energy. Totally. That's how I work too, is like I'm there for support, but like your body, your system, your soul is the guide. Like you are leading this. This is for you. Yeah. And that's really powerful too, because then, you leave and you are still leading. Totally. Right. There's agency. It sounds like you're the same. I don't blow doors open. No, that's why I don't take people through holotropic breath work, typically, at least at the beginning, because it's like, depending on how much work you've done, like that's can be like re-traumatizing for the system. 100%. 100%. Like, if you need gentle, I go gentle. I go where you go. And then once we have, like you said in the other podcast, safety is number one first. Totally. And then once you've established that connection, that safety with us, and then also with whatever world we're working in, then we go into the next level, and it's so beautiful. And that's also why I don't usually do one-offs either. Yeah. Well, I think too, there's a lot of practitioners, and like we live in such a fast-paced world where we want things to change so quickly. Right. But honestly, the fastest way to create change is to do it at a sustainably slow
pace geared towards letting your nervous system guide.
100%.
And then change can happen really quickly because you have the foundation of safety built. Whereas if you're getting blown out, it's like you might have this really transcendental, widening somatic opening, but you can't integrate it because it wasn't based on safety.
Yes.
Like your body can't hold it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And your nervous system is like
Frazzle dazzle.
Right. It just goes back into like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I remember feeling,
Yeah.
I remember not feeling safe as, you know, and it goes right back there.
And a lot of times the intensity, like I know for me too, like I've had a lot of experiences where intensity is very similar to trauma. So like if I have an intense positive experience, the other side of it's connected to it too.
It's so true. I have found too, excitability is the same thing as trauma.
Totally.
In the nervous system at times. Yeah.
It
so
can be confusing.
Yeah. It's about equanimity. Right. And then like the turtle, I saw a turtle this morning and I was like, I know I was going to talk about it, right? Slow and steady wins the race. But in our fast paced life, we want it fast. We want the answers.
It's an edge for us to go slow.
It is. It is. And I think a lot of us want those answers, and answers are great in context. Right. But if it's hard to embody and breathe and be here now, then presence is lost and answers don't matter.
There's no space. The spaciousness is when like the answers and the clarity comes. Yeah. Awesome. We're going to wrap up. Thank you so much. This is so fun.
Thank you.
We'll put it in the show notes too, but I would love for you to share where people can find you, any offerings you want to promote, anything like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have some oracle cards coming out at some point soon.
That's very exciting.
Those are Kabbalistic oracle cards. And in line with that is my Soul's Way training. So for anybody, you don't have to be a healer. You don't have to go out and be a healer. It's really for anybody that wants mentorship in the shamanic, Kabbalistic path, and you don't have to be Jewish. You just have to be open.
Yeah.
So that's an 8-month little incubator. Nice. That is really fun. And we're opening spaces right now for September. So
amazing.
So I'm excited about those 2 projects.
Yay. Yeah. And where can people find you online?
I am also in flux in my website, but arielahalevi.com.
Cool.
And as well as Instagram. That's my handle. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.